All of the 505 was that was the 505 the 82nd Airborne, or what?
505 is a regiment.
Mm-hmm.
The division's made up of, well, in most cases, three regimental combat teams. Makes a division.
Mom, you want to lay down?
Just keep myself.
You don't like it? You're welcome to.
Okay, this is November the 4th,
we went into
2001.
Cross-channel invasion. It was made up of 505, 507. Now wait a minute. It originally, it was 507 and 323rd Glider, 505 and 507 parachute regiments, and the 505, 320, 123, 123rd Glider Regiment. See, what happened was 82nd was called up to active service as a regular infantry division, and then they split it in half, sent half the regiment, half of the outfit to form the 101st Airborne Division, taking part of the troops that was already in it. Half of them, they made gliders. You didn't have to volunteer for the gliders. They'd draft you for the gliders.
Oh.
They could draft you for the gliders, but they couldn't, the paratroopers. Paratroopers was volunteered. So they put 2 regiments of paratroopers with the 82nd and sent out 2 regiments of gliders from the 82nd to make the 101st.
Bet you didn't take your 2 o'clock medicine.
Well, now you were in the 82nd Airborne, 505th Regiment, right?
505th Regiment, Company D.
Company D of the paratroopers.
505th Parachute Regiment.
And when you did that to your foot, and when it started getting well, then when did you actually go overseas for the first time?
I went overseas in spring of '43. It tells you there the dates of the overseas activity. I think it's the 11th of May that we landed at Casablanca, Morocco.
This says 29th of April, in 1943.
Well,
Destination
the 29th of April is when we left New York.
Okay, and it says destination EAME. What does that mean?
EAME, European Theater of War. I don't remember just how that reads.
Okay, well anyway, it says you arrived there the 10th of May, 1943.
Well, we arrived the night of the 10th at Casablanca. We didn't leave the plane until the next day, or get off the boat.
And then where did you go? What happened to you from the time you hit
They
European
put
soil?
us on train, 40 and 8s, them old timey 40 and 8 horse and cattle cars. We started went across to about the middle of North Africa to Oujda, Morocco. We set up tent city there, stayed there about till about the 1st of July, or a little before, and then they put us in planes and flew us, landed us right out in the middle of the Tunisian desert.
Oh,
We stayed there about a week and a half. 140 degrees, 144 degrees in the shade in the daytime and get out into the high 30s at night. Over 100-degree variation in temperature. We stayed there about a week. And then we took off from there for the invasion of Sicily.
and you saw action in Sicily, right?
Right, we fought 31. The campaign, Sicilian campaign, just lasted 31 days. We fought every day of it.
And you jumped. Did you jump into Sicily as a
Yeah,
paratrooper?
parachuted into Sicily. And after the Sicilian campaign was over, we didn't know where we were supposed to go, but the night before Salerno Beach started landing the next day, we loaded up. We found out later, they told us later, that when Bagdio had taken over from Mussolini, he surrendered Italy to Eisenhower at Oran about a week before the invasion.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept it secret. The Italians didn't want Germans to know they had surrendered. They was afraid that they would tear up Rome, that the Germans would tear up Rome. Rome to the Italians is like your home.
Mm-hmm.
They worship Rome, in other words.
Mm-hmm.
And Eisenhower agreed to send the 82nd Airborne Division into Rome. We were to hit Rome the same time 5th Army hit Salerno Beach. But come time for us to go, 24 hours before time for us to go, Bagdell was supposed to got in touch with Eisenhower's headquarters to make final arrangements. They were supposed to furnish us heavy artillery and this, that, and the other to defend Rome. And 24 hours before we were to go, they sent General Taylor, which was our division executive officer at the time, him and a colonel from the Air Force. They went into Rome disguised as shot down American airmen and met with the German, not the German, but the Italian chief of staff and all. Mm-hmm. They were scared. They'd seen the Germans going through, was coming down to defend. They knew that Salerno would be where the Americans would try to land. So they were sending reinforcements from the north down through Rome and down to Salerno. And the Italians got scared and backed out. Well, General Taylor and this Air Force colonel, all they had was a little suitcase radio. And there was one word that I forgot now what it was, that they was to broadcast back to Eisenhower headquarters if the deal was to be called off. Well, in the meantime, this typhoon hit the Mediterranean and made radio communications with the radios they had in them days.
Knocked them out, did it?
Knocked them out. And when there was half of our planes, and incidentally I was in one of those, was in the air, ready to go to Rome. Another 5 minutes, or less than 5 minutes, we'd have been on, the rest of our planes would have been in the air, and we'd have been on radio silence, been headed for Rome.
Mm-hmm.
When they got through to Ike's headquarters, they called it off. There's half of our planes that hadn't left the ground yet. and half of them was in the air just circling, waiting for the rest of them to get airborne before they went on radio silence. They got us stopped, in other words, before we didn't go to Rome. Well, then, about 2 days after the Fifth Army hit Salerno Beach, they was being drove back into the sea, and the headquarters had already sent in all of the seaborne troops they had, and they sent us in. We parachuted in behind our own lines to reinforce the Fifth Army, which actually all it was of the Fifth Army was 36th Division and 45th. 45th was Oklahoma National Guard, 36th was Texas National Guard, and they had set dynamite charges and TNT charges on their heavy weapons, was ready to go back to the boat. When they heard we were landing, that boosted their morale enough that they turned the Germans back without our help. though we landed that night behind
Was
our
this
own
in
lines.
Naples? Was this in Naples? Was this in Naples or Normandy or?
Well, that was Salerno Beach.
Oh, okay, Salerno Beach. Okay.
They buried Americans Salerno Beach, taking bulldozers and pushed out across.
Yeah, I've seen movies on that one. That was a bad battle, wasn't it?
They
Did you see any fighting much in that? I mean, did you fight in that one a lot, or
we
did you
didn't.
just kind of escape that
At
battle?
least my company didn't actually go into combat at Salerno, but after the Fifth Army turned the Germans back, then we started fighting them.
Chasing them on in.
Our battalion, 2nd Battalion, 505th Infantry, was assigned to the 23rd British 23rd Armored Brigade as assault troops, which meant we had spearheaded their. We were the infantry part of their operation. We led the attack on Naples, taking Naples.
It was Naples and Foggia. They're sort of side by side, towns side by side, or was that two separate battles?
Oh, you want something
Two
Sprite?
separate battles.
You got some Sprite? I got some Sprite in there.
So Naples and Foggia was two
Well,
separate.
this I can't remember the name of it. I can't. It's right on the end of my tongue, but I can't think of it.
6 o'clock.
It laid from Pompeii, foot of Pompeii Mountain, back toward Salerno, big wide valley there, and the Germans had a railroad gun dug into the side of Pompeii Mountain, and every time any troops would try to advance across that valley, they'd roll that gun out and blast them out of the sky, out of the being, and they couldn't. We couldn't get a fix on the gun if they put them little Cub planes in the air to try to locate it. Germans just roll it back in that hole in the side of the mountain, pull our camouflage nets out over it. They couldn't find it. So they sent my squad with the Lieutenant Alfonso, Italian. He's raised right there in that valley. Lieutenant, and he was our assistant platoon leader, and so they sent him with my squad, the squad I was in there that night to find that gun under the cover of darkness. And we had orders to get at least a mile from it before we put the map coordinates on the radio because there's two heavy cruisers and one light cruiser sitting off shore waiting, tuned to our radio frequency. And when we put it on the air, they blasted that thing out of being, that railroad artillery. And when they did that, when we put it on the air and they opened fire, we were plenty glad we'd got a mile away. Buddy, they tore the side out of that mountain, knocked that gun out. Next day, the Fifth Army walked across the valley, standing up without any trouble, because there wasn't no railroad gun there to bother them no more. And on the other side of the valley, of course, was Naples.
Well, now when
We
Mary
captured
Glees,
Naples and fought the Germans, drove them up back to the Valderno River, which is about 30 miles
I got coffee
above
there. You want some
Naples.
coffee? All I have to do is warm it up.
General Clark's headquarters sent word down for us to dig in and hold and wait for the rest of the Fifth Army to catch up, as we was getting too far ahead of them. They couldn't keep supplies to us. We dug in, sat there, cross-eyed them Germans across the river for about a week and a half, and they sent a British armored brigade, armored infantry brigade is the way they designated it, in to replace our one little old battalion under the cover of darkness. And of course the Germans seen what was happening. They attacked it the next night, drove the Germans back.
sit down, Daddy. I want to tell you.
Drove the
you
British
tell me
back
more.
to Naples.
Yes, you need.
We had to go back and drive the cotton picking Germans back across the river again.
Oh. Now that was the Naples battle, and you told me about Sicily. What about Mary Glees? Didn't you find
what?
Mary Glees? Mary Glees, when you went into France, was that before or after Naples?
Oh, that was not near a year after Naples.
Was it?
About 6 months after.
Would you go to the Rhine? When did you go? Where did you go after Naples?
After Naples, we went to the British Isles.
Did you?
We went to Ireland, stayed in Ireland until Christmas holidays, then went across into Britain and stayed there until we took off for the cross-channel invasion, the 6th of June
44.
of 44. We landed, we parachuted into the suburbs of San Maria Glees, 1:15 morning of June the 6th. The beach forces started hitting the beaches at 7 o'clock.
44 or 45?
44.
44. When you went into Mary Glees, there's 13,000 men, wasn't there?
Well, technically, they called it, that was for rough course, but it's actually 12,700 of the 82nd Division went in there.
But they didn't all come back, did they?
A little over 5,000 come out.
Not quite. I heard it wasn't quite that many. Maybe
No,
3.
it's just a little over 5,000
Was it?
out of 12,700.
I'd heard there wasn't even 3,000 come back.
Oh, well, you heard wrong.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the worst. Was that the worst battle you was ever in?
No,
No.
Battle of the Bulge was the worst.
Okay. But Mary Glees was pretty bad, wasn't it?
It was bad enough to get me evacuated.
Did you get hurt in the Mary Glees battle?
D+1, in other words, the 7th of June, that morning, just before 7 o'clock, see, we were to be resupplied by air, by parachute, in other words, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the evening. Well, just before 7 o'clock in the morning, the day after the invasion, we checked ammunition. We had 4 in our platoon. We had 4 Browning air-cooled machine guns. We had 2 Browning automatic rifles, and everybody else had M1s except me. The NCOs could choose their own weapon. We could choose whatever weapon we wanted. And most of us chose either a submachine gun or BAR, which stands for Browning Automatic Rifle. Most of us chose one or the other, and I chose Thompson sub. And, we checked ammunition. We had a half a barrel of machine gun ammunition.
Okay, we'll stop it for just a minute. Okay, let me turn it on now. Here's a picture of Daddy boarding a plane for combat. That's in their book of paratroopers. Let's see. And the name of the book is
AA.
Air
It's
Force.
history of it.
It's a history
All American
of,
Division.
let's see. What's the title? Saga of the All-American. Saga of the All-American. It's the name of the book. And it's page, I don't know if they're numbered. They're not numbered. But anyway, that's a picture of Daddy boarding one of the planes, getting ready to go
Goodbye Africa, loading up
for combat. And this is a book of, shows a lot of pictures from the war, World War II.
I was a pretty good looking old boy that
Well, you wasn't bad looking then. I got tickled at Lynn one day. She saw pictures of you when you was young. She said, "Boy, Paul was a good looking man." Just going on. It was kind of cute.
Granny was a good looking woman too.
I know it. She had a fit. She saw pictures of you both when you was young. She said, "My goodness, that's good looking." That tickled her. That's some neat pictures.
150 miles in 6 days.
Now, what battle was that, Daddy?
Sicily.
Sicily, 150 miles in 6 days. Well, now you tell me a little bit about Naples, a little bit about Sicily.
Were you fighting when you couldn't make no more time than that? Were you fighting then?
Well, it was less than 5,000 82nd Airborne troops went into Sicily. And we put 22,000 Italian soldiers through our prisoner of war brigade. So you can figure it out.
What, Mussolini's men? Were they Mussolini's men?
Yeah.
You had, when you went from Naples, you went to what, Miraglese, and then where did you go? When did you go to the Rhineland and Normandy? Or Ardennes, or when was that?
Ardennes.
Yeah. Which battles was next after Miraglese?
I couldn't keep up with them. I couldn't tell you where one started and the other stopped.
Uh-huh. Which one was the worst battle you were in, Daddy? Normandy?
Battle of the Bulge.
Battle of the Bulge. Was that Normandy, or was that Rhineland?
No, that is in Belgium. Taking place, started the 14th or 15th of December and went through till March.
They've not got that on there. Battle of the
No.
Bulge.
Well, they've
Wonder
got
why.
something. They've got some
Well,
kind of...
that's
They've got
published
Geo
with that.
something. They've got, on here, they've got Normandy. Turn it off. And we're going to start talking about Miraglese. In 1944, at 1 something in the morning,
We parachuted into France 1:15 in the morning, and Beach Forces didn't start landing until 7 o'clock. We landed in and around Santa Maria Police. If you ever seen that picture, The Longest Day, them parachutes hanging on that, in them trees and on that
In the water and everything.
stuff, was some of my best friends.
Well, Daddy, you just didn't swim or nothing, and you just jumped in at night, didn't you?
We went in. We didn't hit. All of us didn't hit exactly where we were supposed to.
But you knew if you hit in water or something, and you just didn't swim, you were goners right from the get-go, right?
Well, if we hit in any deep water, we was gone anyhow, because I had 104 pounds of equipment on me besides my own weight. And if you landed in water, if there was any current, the current would keep your parachute, current or wind would keep your parachute tight, or you couldn't get it loose from it. You was just goner anyhow.
Wasn't that scary for you guys jumping out of those planes?
Well,
like that at night and it pitch dark?
We'd done enough of it. We knew what we was doing. We wasn't especially scared.
Right, but when you dropped out that night, 1 o'clock in the morning, it's dark, right?
Oh, yeah.
Was there artillery fire coming up at you when you were jumping?
Machine gun fire.
Machine gun fire.
And regardless, when German machine guns started firing, I don't care which direction it fired, it looked like this coming right straight at you. the German machine gun bullets, every third one was a tracer. In other words, it's fired.
So it'd be a light, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that on TV.
The tracers looked like there's about a foot apart or a little over. Mm-hmm. But between that tracer and the next one was 2 solid bullets. Mm-hmm. We bailed out. We had in our planes, we was flying in 3-plane formations. We had there was 4 bomb racks on the bellies of each plane. We had equipment bundles with heavy equipment and extra ammunition and all in them 4 bomb racks. We had 3 equipment bundles, chutes, in the plane, laying in the door of the plane. It just balanced just enough more of them in the plane than there was out from to balance and not fall out. And that made it where you could just pick up on the end of them that is in the plane and flip them out, and they'd go tumbling out of the plane. There was 7 equipment bundles to each plane. And just about the time our chutes opened, they told us in the briefing room before we loaded on the plane that there was German railroad guns within firing range of our drop zone. If they were to happen to find out we was coming, get zeroed in on that drop zone, we'd be done for. Just after our chutes opened, or at least mine, of course I was the last man to go out of the plane. I was the first man in the plane, the last man out, with orders not to leave the plane till all the paratroopers was out. If we had to shoot them and throw them out.
Why was that your job? What do you?
Because I was
assistant.
NCO.
Mm-hmm.
And
They didn't say shoot them, did they?
yes,
or
they
just
did.
push them out?
They said if you had to shoot them and throw them out to make sure you got them out of the plane. In other words, they done spent too much money on training you to let you go back to base.
Did anybody ever not want to jump, Daddy?
Well, I don't know. Might have been a lot of them didn't want to, but they did.
Did they? They didn't want to be called chicken, did they?
Just after my chute opened, there's a big blast back the direction we'd come from, just a little ways back. And what went through my mind immediately was railroad gun, because it was big enough blast to be a railroad gun blast. But I hadn't much more than thought that until the small arms ammunition, the fire started setting them off. Then I knew what it was. I knew it was equipment bundle had blowed up. One of out of the three bundles that was in the door of the plane, there was only one chute opened, and it wouldn't hold them up. The bundles hit the ground and exploded. They had anti-tank mines in them and all kinds of explosives, and all kinds of every kind of ammunition that we used was mixed in with them in them bundles.
That's why you're slow on ammunition, I guess, too, wasn't it?
No, we carried all the ammunition we could carry, but this was for
Backup.
backup.
Or there comes somebody. I don't know who, but somebody coming.
Oh, go ahead, that's all right. Go ahead, Daddy. When things come up on porch, we'll stop.
That morning,
Somebody from church.
that D-Day +1, we checked ammunition. We had average of 1 8-round clip per rifle, and I was out. We was out for the machine guns and all. We sent out patrol, got a mixed model. Somebody coming to the door.
I'll turn this off. The bulge of a night or of a day? Was the battle of the bulge of a night or of a day?
Never spend another weekend cleaning
Both.
your whole clog.
What is it?
Leaf Guard gutters are the gutters that never clog, guaranteed. Leaf Guard
Mostly
gutters come in a
they are.
variety of colors that are custom made on site to fit your home. Leaf Guard's one-piece seamless hooded gutter is the
There's
only
a
one
bed
of
of
its kind.
snow.
This patented design allows water to enter the gutter while
Is that
leaves,
on?
pine straw, and other debris fall to the ground. And the slim, sleek design won't detract from the beauty of your home. Leaf Guard, the gutter that never clogs, guaranteed. Call Leaf Guard today.
It's not plugged in.
288-0400
It don't have to be now. My battery's
Oh,
got a little
no.
bit of stuff on. My battery's working.
My kidneys were shutting down.
Can you have sugar? I can have fried food.
I felt myself dying.
Diabetes is devastating. I know because my great-grandmother and grandmother died of its complications. My
Here's a
mother
lot
has
of that
diabetes.
too,
I
now.
don't. Thankfully, there are now things you can do to avoid it.
Find out if you're at risk, how to control it, and how new medical treatments are giving diabetics more hope than ever before.
For the first time, I can feel my toes.
Diabetes Alert, Monday at 5 on WYFF News 4.
Well, you had Mary Glees in 44. What did you have in the fall of 44? What battles? Where did
Fall
you?
of 44,
Yeah.
From now on, I'm treating time as an asset.
Battle of the Bulge was in the fall and winter of 44.
I'm going to invest it in things that really matter.
When was
My
Normandy?
bank's got to respect
Uh-huh.
Was Normandy before the bulge or after?
Normandy's right after the
Live Super
invasion.
weather is
From
brought to
Mary
you by
Glees?
Yeah.
Verizon Wireless.
France.
Around beautiful weekend. It really was compared to
Right
last
to the
weekend.
Rhine.
In the 50s last weekend, 70s, and even up to 80 degrees.
Was that
this weekend was just
Abergine
gorgeous
or
out there.
however
Take a
you
look
say
at
it,
what's
an
coming out before
Abergine
right
or
now.
an
Lots of little fly.
Abergine
You
or
really
Abergine?
could use some
Those
Those
rain.
other
November has been
town
totally dry
fights
so
or
far.
Rhineland, when was that?
But
In
they should
comparison
pick
to
up
the
about
battle.
I'm not
2/3
sure.
inches of
The
rain in November, and so far,
Rhineland
drop
was
lines
mostly
without
farmers.
showing us any precipitation.
If that's
Well, boy, those temperatures, they've been heading up. We're
That
on that
too.
roller coaster in
the
November.
Rhine River is
Remember
the
last
edge
weekend,
of
down into
Germany.
the 50s, we've been
What was you
moving
supposed
all
to have
the
got
way
the
up,
Bronze
all the way
Star
to high
for,
80
Daddy?
degrees yesterday, but look, you know, when you get to
Invasion
the
of
top of the roller
France.
coaster, what's going to happen? Well, the bottom's going to fall out.
The
Down to
fighting
70
there.
today, and then we're just going to head lower from there. Back to more seasonable
San
temperatures.
Maria Glees.
60
in and
degrees right
around
now,
San
Greenville,
Maria
Spartanburg
Glees.
Airport.
That's when
No
you
wind,
got the
46%
Bronze
relative
Stars.
humidity. 71 was today's high, as you saw. 54.
It said on your thing you had 5 Bronze Stars.
64 degrees, no
Well,
winds.
that,
72
now
was
that
today's
is the
high in
little
Electric City.
stars that
5
goes on
overnight
your
low and
ribbon.
nothing in Range H and Anderson as well. In Asheville,
well, it's
61
not the
degrees
Bronze
right
Star
now. Winds are
Medal.
picking up just a bit. North wind at 10 miles per hour, and again, that's going to continue throughout the evening. 70 was today's high in the mountains, 50 the overnight low.
But then you're supposed to have a Bronze Star too, right?
Very quiet over top of us. High
Did you ever get it?
A big portion of the nation.
I think so.
Showers now moving through the northeast.
I think it got stolen or lost.
That's going to give us a
bunch
blast of cool
air. Them rented that old house
then here's all of that rain associated.
Because all my stuff
I thought you had all that stuff in with your Purple Heart and all that. I think all you had was in
now wait just a minute. It was, but if you remember, Robert or Carol or some of them found the Purple Heart and all in the yard down there at the old place after the bunch that had been living there moved out.
South, which actually
hurricane
is a big low pressure system. Those two things come together.
So your suit and all was in that trunk at Miles?
Huh?
Your uniform and all was in that trunk at Miles?
All of it was in that trunk. There's some of it that they lost out in the yard is all I ever
The
got.
latest satellite image from Michelle, you can see eye becomes a little obscured here as it makes landfall. Made landfall around 4 o'clock this afternoon. But still very, very strong winds, and it looks like this part of Cuba is just going to be devastating.
A lot of your clothes that you have.
You see the latest coordinates
Yeah,
now.
you
had a lot of pictures.
It's full.
22.3 north.
It's full of stuff, wasn't it?
Northeast at 13 miles per hour. Still 130
That
miles
picture,
per hour winds with gusts.
company picture that
60 miles per hour. Just unbelievable.
they made
You can see
company
these are the
pictures
tropical storm force
just
winds
before
already
we went
before the Keys are
overseas.
seeing tropical
Everybody
storm
that
force winds,
wanted one
along with the southern
got
counties
And
in Florida.
I had all my buddies write their home addresses
Also, these are hurricane force
and
winds
all
right
on
over
the back
Cuba
of
right now,
mine.
extending about 60 miles out from the center, so very, very strong. We expect her to move into the Florida Straits maybe over the next 12 hours or so.
Clyde got out of the service and come home, and his buddies that got to gambling on the boat coming over, coming back, and Brooke lost all his money, and Clyde loaned him a bunch of money. He was going to pay him back out of his mustard out pay, and they got separated when they were being mustered out.
There's those breezy conditions tomorrow, then we drop a little more on
I
Tuesday down to 63
complained about that guy. He just said something happened wrong. That boy didn't deliberately beat him out of that money. He did actually get it later. But when he was complaining about that, I had to think on the back of that picture, well, drive home. If you bought a $100 war bond, it cost $75.
How about this dining room? No money down, no
So on
payments,
and
no
so
interest,
forth.
and no accrual.
Anyhow,
April 2003.
It's the whole package.
we had a big
Incredible furniture fashion,
crap
great
game
service,
going
unbeatable prices.
payday night.
Until April 2003, only at Rooms to Go.
I couldn't have said
They was
it better
going to have a
myself.
drawing. For every $25 war bond you bought, you got your name on the list.
Different and other
Drawing.
things about my appearance have changed. Then I found Upstate Plastic Surgery and
guys
the many
in my
services they had
platoon,
to offer, and not all of them required surgery.
There was 5
We
guys
have
in
2
my
board-certified
platoon.
plastic surgeons trained in
that
plastic
got
surgery,
changed
not some other specialty. I feel good about myself again, and I'm glad I
was
finally did
winning.
something for myself.
In other words,
After all,
they got a
look how much I did
24-hour
for everyone
pass
else.
to Paris.
Upstate Plastic Surgery, they can help. Call 286-9444.
Well, out
The
of
2001
the 5
Carolina Lifestyles
guys,
Expo was a huge success that attracted more than
4 of them
15,000 people, and
that was
WIFF
replacements. In other words, their pictures wasn't
Now
on
is the
that.
time to plan on showcasing your
They
business
wasn't
at
on that
2002 Carolina
They wasn't in
Lifestyles
that
Expo,
picture.
Saturday, March 2nd and Sunday, March 3rd
Eldon
at the
Clark,
Palmetto Expo Center.
good friend of mine, he was mortar sergeant. He won.
We're hoping to be a part of it again next year.
Out of the 5 guys, I loaned each one of them
Participation information,
$20 for their weekend in Paris.
As a busy
They, all,
mom,
they couldn't
nothing
go,
beats
this
my
broke.
Chevy, and nobody beats
They'd
you
lost
at
all their money.
Simpsonville Chevy Country.
Gambling.
And their service guys keep me on the go.
Well, I had bought 3 $100 war bonds, which was $225, and I only drawed $128 across the table.
And they got great deals with the good guy.
So these 5 guys in my platoon that got a chance to go to Paris said they couldn't go because they didn't have money. I said, how much money would it take for you to go? Oh, $20 would be fine. Well, I loaned each one of them $100 a piece.
Good evening. It's a breakout year for Andy
Well, of course, just about a week after that, a little over a week after, is when the Battle of the Bulge started. They rushed us up into the
North Carolina Motor
line.
Speedway, Rockingham, North Carolina. The guy
Combat.
from Flat Rock likes racing at the Rock.
So when Clyde was talking about his buddy not beating him, I said, I'm going to show you the difference in my buddy and yours.
And Nemechek will coast from there. I mean, it was
Clark.
a relatively boring race. The final
Name
100
and
laps
address
looked like this.
off
Nemechek
of
out front, nobody
wrote
really
him a letter,
close.
and I showed it to
Pole sitter.
Clyde
Kenny
and
Wallace
Breeden.
comes in second.
I didn't mention
Joe
him on the
Nemechek
no money.
gets the win. As the
Didn't
Flat
mention
Rock
it
crew
at all.
celebrates,
But
Nemechek
boy,
wins.
it
Wallace
wasn't
comes
but
in
2 or
second.
3
Great
days
weekend for
after I
Wallace.
mailed that
Billy
letter
win the pole, he
until
comes
here
in
come
second,
one
wins the
back
cup and won the
from
horse
Eldon
race.
with $20.
Johnny Benson was third. Jerry Nadu fifth.
Boy, that really rubbed Clyde the wrong way, didn't it, huh?
I don't remember that.
Jeff Gordon
You don't
finished
remember?
25th. A slight chink in the armor of Gordon, but still Gordo's points lead.
Did you all
was
three of them
large.
pay you back your $20?
326
No, the other 4 they was in combat. And
Oh, they probably got, some of them maybe got killed or
Football down in the
something.
words
well,
of
there's one.
Andrew Pinnock.
There was
The Gamecocks
one.
simply took care of
Another
business.
funny
Instead of
coincidence of
seconds
war.
after USC beat
Out there at
Jerry, they were already
Brownfield,
talking
we
about the
lived at
upcoming SEC
Brownfield.
showdown with Florida. Andrew Pinnock
I
is
was
ready. I mean, he got the bulk of the carries.
driving a
Saturday.
delivery truck for
86
wholesale
yards,
gas and oil
1,
place.
2, here comes number 3.
And
3
this
touchdowns.
outfit
You know, it's all about having a good vibe.
Somewhere in New
Possibly
Mexico,
finding a way to
come
get
in there and they was
SEC
grubbing
title game.
with tractors. They had a special piece of equipment hooked on the mounted on the front of them.
It's going to start. We're going to have to start with this week.
Get them mesquite bushes out with.
Florida to get there.
I delivered
Powerhouse.
the fuel to them.
I think we're going into the game.
One guy
got a good mindset. We're going to have a great playbook put together as far as coaching.
told me
we're gonna have a great
he had a,
we were just looking
I
for.
don't know whether it was a nephew
In the AP
or
poll,
what, I
just
believe it was
released
nephew.
Florida is
Anyhow,
the number 4
kin to
team
him
in the
that
nation.
was in
Miami,
the
Nebraska
second
2.
airborne division.
Unbeatens remain 1
And he told me his
BYU
name.
also undefeated.
His name
Bucks,
was,
the
his
Cougars
last
remain
name was
ninth in the country.
Star.
Look at Florida State. Remember
That's
a couple
all I
weeks
can
ago we
remember
said, wow,
about
where
him.
are they?
Well, right
Now
at
they're
the
back in
time,
the top
he
10.
didn't
South
register
Carolina
with me at all.
goes from 17th
But
in the
Star
nation
was one of
to
the guys that
14th.
come
So
into
the
the
showdown with
outfit
Florida will be 14
after the
against 4. By the
invasion
way, you
of
see Illinois
France.
15 there. Just going out
When
on a limb
we
saying that'll be your
went
Citrus Bowl matchup.
back to
Illinois
camp
and South
to
Carolina.
reorganize and all,
Georgia is 19th and Georgia Tech.
and I had given him his training and all. But I momentarily forgot it.
Night in Maryland. Game time, 7 o'clock. It was announced today that
You're going
Terps
through
and
so
Tigers will
much
play
and all
on
this.
ESPN2.
Some things you don't,
Now,
you
going
just
on the road,
forget things. And afterwards, I remember
the Tigers have lost
that
3
was
home
Star, and I
conference games
remember
this season. Yesterday, the Tigers defense got burned for more than 500 yards by Florida State. A 41-27 loss eliminates Clemson from the ACC title hunt, knocks them out of the top 25. The Tigers may be a bit down, but they say they are not out.
You're just out there, and it looks like nothing's going to get any better. And then there you go, you got guys looking at each other. I was like,
I can't read that,
on
see where it
right back and
is.
say, don't quit on me.
There's parachutes.
And nobody's
I
going to quit
bet
out
you
there.
they
We're
bought
gonna
that
fight to
book
the
for
end.
you.
It's not
Yeah,
tough
they
to keep
bought it.
going on
They did. That's a
because
used
we got a lot
book
of
that
pride.
belonged to some
We won't
man.
ever have
Who
to worry
did
about
put it in
fighting.
the used
This
book
team will
shop
always
and they
fight.
bought it used.
We still got goals. We want to win 8 football games this year.
Now the Carolina Panthers, are they still fighting? Their losing streak is now at 7. And through the
Burn
stint, the
it.
Panthers
I
have
think
played
it's hot in here.
okay and have lost a few close ones. But today, they were just
I
awful.
just think it's
Chris
hot in here.
Wanky,
I am.
Here's the guy they
at
got it
Miami,
from.
Yeah.
Wanky intercepted
Who owned it
by
originally.
Patrick Surtain, and bye-bye.
They
Surtain's
probably
taking
got
it
it in
back
the
the
used
other way for the
book shop.
touchdown. Miami goes up 10-3 in the second quarter. Wanky in the second half
Something Hill,
gets pulled.
West
Coach
Virginia.
Seifert goes with
Yeah,
Damian
what
Craig,
about
and this
that?
experiment didn't work either. No touchdowns for the
I
Panthers
bet you
today.
he got broken.
Jake Fiedler
Sold
of
that to him
Miami
for nearly
rolled
nothing.
to the victory
Probably.
touchdown pass to Conrad. Seals
A lot
the
of
deal.
times you can get used
23-6.
books like that
Miami
real cheap, like
beats
$2
the
or
Panthers.
$5.
The Falcons hosting the Patriots, and if
That
one
makes
place
good
sums up
gifts
the
for
game, here we
somebody
go.
when they're out of
Tom
print and you
Brady,
can't buy them
quarterback for the
nowhere. It's a
Patriots,
good
throws it
deal.
into the crowd, and
Cameron, you popped
Steve
your
Beck
car
on
it's like
reception.
going over the
the
bank down there.
deflection
How
goes
come you
right
do
to
that?
Troy Brown, who takes it
I just
right
go
into the
far
end
down
zone
out of the
for
way
the
as I can
touchdown.
do.
Oh,
And the
just gonna let somebody,
24-7 lead.
they
Look
won't
at this
turn
play
around
again.
back there, turn around.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good.
Come over here and see if you can read
And
this.
good. Tom Brady
I can't read
touchdown
that
pass
fine
to
print.
Stevie. Can't believe that play. Chandler got knocked from the game. New England wins it 24-10.
British and American airborne troops made landings between Emmerich and Wessel, expanding the bridgehead north of the
Central Division battle. Green Bay went better than Tampa Bay. Tennessee beats Jacksonville 28-24. The Colts over Buffalo 30-14. Exhibition opener for the South Carolina basketball team last night. Dave Odom getting in his first game.
Oh, did you see the runners is in today's paper?
Elite team. Nice to see